Hey students, this is Miss Morale. Today we are going to be doing Unit G. So I'm going to write my notes. As I write, if you need to pause, make sure you do that. If you need to rewatch, maybe you write the first time, but make sure that you're listening. Big key part to these videos being helpful. Listen. Get headphones, turn the volume on, listen to these. Okay? Soup's important. Alright, today we're going to start Unit G, which is factoring quadratics. Okay, so again, if you need to pause, make sure you do that. And today we're going to do G1, which is our introduction to factoring. Okay, so for G1, Introduction to Factoring, first thing we need to know is factor. And factor is a number that divides another evenly. Okay, and evenly means that there's no decimals or remainders. So nothing left over, it goes into it exactly a certain amount of times. Alright, so for example, 2 is a factor of, and we can name anything that 2 can go into. So 2 can go into 10. So 2 is a factor of 10, okay, because I can do 10 divided by 2, that's our factor, and we get 5, which is our whole amount of times. It's an evenly. It has to be a whole number here. Okay, so we have 3 examples today. We're going to start with number 1, which is just going to be list the factors of 68 from least to greatest. And we're not going to do this just willy-nilly. We could take a calculator, do 68 divided by 1, 68 divided by 2, 68 divided by 3, figure that out. But you have this handy-dandy sheet. So on the sheet, we're going to find 68. Alright, so here's 68, so we're using all those numbers underneath it. So if I look, I have 1 and 68, and I'm going to go least to greatest. So I'm going to start with 1, and then I have 2 times 34, so 2 would be next. 4 times 17, so it kind of goes down and then it goes back up. So 17. So I'm looking right here at the 68. So 1, 2, 4. It's not focusing. There we go. 17, and that goes up to 34 and 68. So 1 times 68 is 68, 2 times 34 is 68, and 4 times 17 is 68. So as I list my factors, I want to go least to greatest. I'm going to start here, go down, and then go back up. So 1, 2, 4. 17, and then it was 2 times 34, and 1 times 68. Okay. We have one more term today, which is greatest common factor. which is also known as the GCF, greatest common factor. Alright, so greatest common factor, greatest means biggest. Common means like something we have in common, something we share, so greatest shared factor. Between numbers, or we could say between terms. And today we're just going to do numbers to start off with. Okay, so number 2. We're going to find the GCF of 68 and 124. Okay, so for our examples here, we're going to start with 68, and we're going to list all the factors of 68, which we already did 68. It's right there, so I'm just going to copy it. 1, 2, 4, 17, 34, and 68. Alright, now I'm going to do it for 124. So on our sheet, our front of the sheet only goes to 100. So if we flip that over, we can find our numbers here on the side. So 124 is right here. So I have 1 and 124, 2 and 62, and 4 and 31. So it was 1, 2, 4, 4 and 31. And then kind of work my way back out. So 2 and 62. And then 1 and 124. Okay, so these are the factors. So now I'm going to look and see which ones do they have in common. So they both have a 1. They both have a 2. They both have 4. 31, nope. 62, nope. And then 124. So common is 1, 2, and 4. So our greatest common factor is just which one out of that list is the biggest, and our biggest is 4. Okay, one other way you could do this is we could highlight. So we have a 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, and then we have nothing else, so that's it. Alright, we're going to do number 3, last one. Okay, we're going to find the GCF of 28, 56, and 84. Once you get kind of good at this, you can just look at your sheet and kind of find each of those boxes and see what's the biggest number that each 3 of those boxes have. So I could look at 28 and 56 and kind of see what those 2 have in common, what's my biggest number. But let's go ahead and list them because these are our notes. And remember, on our notes, we'll make sure that we're writing things out so that if we need to look back for our test or when we need help, we want to be able to say what happened. Okay? So for 28, I'm going to start by listing those out. 1, 2, 4, and then I go back up into 7, 14, and 28. 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, 28. Okay. Now I'm going to look at 56. I'm going to go down to 50s. Here's 56. Oops, that one has a lot. 1, 2, 4, 7. 8, 14, 28. 56. Okay, so that's looking at that 56 box. Alright, now we're going to take a look at 84. So I go down to the 80s. Here's 84. Again, woo, lots of numbers there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 12, 14, 21, 28, 42, 84. Whew, lots. Alright, so let's look through. So I always start with my smallest one, because if it's not in the smallest one, then we don't even have to check. So I'm going to start with 1. Do they all have a 1? And the answer is, yep, they all have a 1. So 1, 1, 1. Do they all have a 2? Yep. Do they all, I don't need to check the 3, because it's not in my first one. So I know right away that that's not going to be in all of them. So now I can check my 4. 7, 7, oops, 7. So they don't all have the same. 14. So that skipped that 8. And then 28, 28, 28. So my greatest common factor, I don't need to check 56 because that one doesn't have 56. Same thing here, 42 and 84. It's not in the first one. It has to be in all 3. So those are all my common factors. So my greatest common factor, GCF, is the biggest that they all have in common, which is 28. All right, and that's how you find factors and greatest common factor. Make sure you get this yellow sheet, tan sheet, whatever color it is.